This is See It in IMAX's review of Win-Win, directed by Thomas McCarthy, starring Paul Giamatti, Amy Ryan, Jeffrey Tambor, and Bobby Cannavale, to name a few people. I was not aware of this film until Rolling Stone reviewed it, and I've watched and read a few reviews, and it was getting very positive reviews. And normally I don't go into a movie without having seen the preview, but I took a chance with this one, and although I didn't like it as much as everyone else did, I still thoroughly enjoyed it.
I agree. I thought Win-Win was a very good movie. I thought the acting was very strong, and it was a good story. Admittedly, it did get a little slow on a couple of points, but overall, I thought it was a very good movie. One of the better movies of 2011 so far. Win-Win's the story of an attorney that's having some financial problems, and to help solve those problems and pay his family's bills, he decides to take on the guardianship of one of his clients, an elderly man who is facing the misfortune of starting into dementia. Obviously, that isn't a simple plot, and things get very complex very fast when the elderly gentleman's grandson shows up unexpectedly on the doorstep of his grandfather's home and turns out to be a first-class high school wrestler. The main character, Paul Giamatti, is also a wrestling coach at the local high school. You can figure out where the story goes from here pretty well, but ultimately they pull it off better than most stories of this nature. And I think one of the real keys is they don't go down the normal path of showing all the typical high school stuff that everyone hates to see and relive that we actually lived in high school.
The story for this film is good, but it's kind of predictable. The film is less than 2 hours, I believe, but it feels longer than it actually is. It drags in a few areas. It's not a fast-paced film. It's a drama with some comedy in it, although the comedy I find is a bit dry and there wasn't as much as I was expecting. The acting is very good. I believe that the guy who plays the grandson is actually this was his first time on the big screen, and if that's true, then he did very well. Overall, this is a good film. I'll give it 3.5 stars, and I'd recommend seeing it in the theaters if it's in a theater near you, but a rental is also very good.
Yeah, I agree. Overall, I thought the film was very good. In fact, I thought it was one of the better films of 2011 so far. Admittedly, as we sit here in mid-April, there hasn't been a lot of strong films released, but I do definitely think it was one of the better ones released so far. The acting is top-notch. I thought it was a good script. As I mentioned earlier, it does drag a bit in a few places, but not more than most films that aren't really an action film by nature. And overall, I would agree. I'd give it 3.5 stars. Definitely worth seeing in the big screen, and absolutely a must see as a rental if you don't catch it in the theaters.